Hello and welcome to That Shooting Show. My name's Steve Anderson. I am your humble host. I apologize for the podcast drought. I have been traveling quite a bit, doing classes everywhere on my own and with the mighty Joey Sauerland. But have no fear, I am here, and I want to thank those of you that reached out to me to check on me. When there's a podcast drought, it's one of two things. I'm either traveling a lot or I can't think of a new topic. So, as you know, I am leery of doing the same program over and over and over again. You guys say, yeah, but we like the same program over and over again. That's fine. I totally get it. If you want more podcasts, send me podcast topics. Send me new ones. Send me different ones, and I'll be happy to tell you the same thing all over again in a slightly different way. I will do that for you. All right, let's thank our partners first. You know them, you love them. Walther USA is the title sponsor of this program and of AndersonShooting.com in general. Particularly the Walther steel frame is the finest competition pistol you will ever wrap your grubby little sweaty fingers around, and you will be overcome with emotion at how great this thing fits your hand. You're not even going to believe it. And if you don't like it for any reason, there is a 30-day money-back guarantee on all of the competition-appropriate Walther pistols. So if you don't like it for any reason, it is going to be your fault, but it's not going to be your problem because Walther's going to take that sucker back and give you a refund. As you know, Targets USA manufactures the finest steel targetry on the planet, and of course, assorted accoutrement. I like to pronounce things perfectly because it's important. Accoutrement and accessories for your repertoire. So Targets USA, portable, affordable, the very, very best. If he makes it, you can be assured it is the best because that's what he does. Hunters HD Gold, as you know, is the only eyewear that I wear, and you know that because you are aware that I are wearing that eyewear right now. The AMG-Lab.com Commanderson timer continues to turn heads and blow minds by putting the time into the tablet. Just press the little stopwatch icon and boom! Every glorious event is captured in the tablet for your perusal and analysis. CR Speed, as you know, is the finest competition gun handling gadgetry you can wrap around your waist or anywhere else. You got to roll your R's. South Afrikaans, some Spanish, you got to roll those R's because it is from South Africa. And it is the finest. CR Speed mag pouches are the best. Holsters are supportive. They are awesome. Get yourself some gear. If you come to class with a hitchy bindy race holster, or if it falls out of the holster, or you give yourself an atomic wedgie trying to get that thing out of there, I'm going to make fun of you. That's all there is to it. OutdoorDynamics.net remanufactures the finest competition ammunition you can dispense from a Freedom Seed dispenser, and Shooting Sports Innovations is a lot to type because there is a lot to see. All right, so upcoming classes, go to AndersonShooting.com, click on upcoming classes to see where we're going to be, what we're going to be doing. We have online mental management available in October. The September classes have already started, but there are 2 time slots available in October. Let me just check at the book here. Let's take a look at the scheduled book, make sure we give you the right information. It looks like Wednesdays 9, 16, and 23 at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 3 Wednesdays in October. It is 3 2-hour classes. It is $300. So you're going to tell me that the mental game is 80 to 90% of performance, and then I'm going to ask you what your shooting budget is, and you're going to tell me it's around 10 grand a year. If your wife is listening, you might give me a different number, but that's what you're going to tell me, and I'm going to say, okay, give me 80 to 90% of that. And you're going to say that sounds crazy. But $300 is probably the most you have ever spent on the mental game. And you're going to tell me it's 80 to 90%, and then you're not going to want to give me $300. So let's just get this out of the way. Let's just get this done. We're also going to be in North Carolina at the end of October doing a week-long at, I believe, H2O waterfowl range. We got 2 different classes going on there, as well as match mode coaching. And if you want a free class in November, December, or in 2025, let me know now. Check the schedule. Let's get that thing booked. class sponsor gets the class for free, and all you have to do is arrange the range. You don't have to pay the range fees. You just have to get us access to the range, and you also get the joy of hosting this, me, in your home for the duration of the experience. It's so cool. We have so much fun. All right, so we got Handgun Nationals coming up, and that is the impetus for today's program. So we're going to talk about having a winning performance at Nationals. Now, what is a winning performance? A winning performance is when you go out, shoot like you, with minimal mistakes and no regrets. I can't promise you're going to win your class, your division, or the whole thing. Can't promise you that, but I can, on very short notice, help you have a winning performance where you get access to your subconscious skill. I can deliver that. You can do that. You have done it before. We're going to examine how you've done it before, how to do it again. The first thing you got to do is write down what works. Shooters are very good at knowing, remembering, studying, thinking, talking, writing about things that don't work. You know what doesn't work. To the extent, we're not even going to talk about it today. We are not going to talk about what doesn't work. We're going to talk about what does work. And let's take a look at what works. When you know the stage inside and out, that works. When you're not thinking very much while you're shooting, that works. And when you're not worried about the results or when you don't care, that works. Now, how do we duplicate those conditions under pressure? We have to understand and control what we are thinking about when we're shooting our best, and we got to learn how to duplicate it. So consistency is created by the quality of your thoughts and your ability to duplicate them. So if you know what works and you're able to control what you are thinking about, you will enjoy a higher level of performance with consistency. You will enjoy that. You know that works. You have done it in the past. Now, the reason you're not doing it all the time is because you're worried about the results. You're worried that if you see what you need to see, you might be slow. You're worried that your current level of skill is not good enough for the result that you want. You're worried and you're scared. That's the only reason you're going to be tempted to overtry or undertry, and we'll talk about those here in just a minute. So, how do we duplicate these under pressure? Number one, if you know the stage inside and out, let's properly define that. That is a subconscious stage plan. You've got to know that. You've got to know how to create it, and you need to choose early. I ask this question all the time, so think about this. How many times have you been beaten with a poor execution of the best stage plan on the squad? Not very many times. If you're being honest, you don't get beat very often with a great execution of a suboptimal plan. That does not happen very often. You think it's going to, but it doesn't. Now, how many times have you been beaten with a poor execution of the best plan on the squad? This happens all the time. So that tells us you've got to understand and internalize this. Execution is way, 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 way more important than the plan. I need you to accept that. I need you to understand that. And I need you to quit obsessing over the minutia of the stage plan that doesn't matter. If you are obsessing over the minutia of the stage plan, that means by default it doesn't matter. If the solution is not obvious, that means it doesn't matter. If they're making you go everywhere in the stage, it doesn't really matter that much. You kind of want to avoid going backwards if you can. You obviously want to avoid backtracking. But literally all you need to do is figure out how to reduce the amount of time spent not shooting. That's it. And unless you're new and you're doing dumb stuff, your stage plan is going to be fine. So choose early. Now, something that you must begin doing immediately is to control thoughts of ability during the stage planning process. And you know this works. This isn't new information. You just don't understand it the way I'm going to explain it to you. If you hate the stage and you hate your plan, you don't shoot very well. If you love the stage and you love your plan, you shoot great. Now, I can't help you love every stage, but I can help you create imprints to self-image during the stage planning process, which is the only way to get access to a subconscious stage plan and subconscious skill. Your self-image, your thoughts of ability, past, present, current is the most important one. Your thoughts of ability is how you're going to shoot. So when you look at a stage and you think, I can do this, you get access to skill. If you look at a stage and go, this doesn't play to my strengths, I'm a little worried about this, I don't know if I can do this, that's going to be a bigger problem. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do, and I can do it. You don't need to worry about doing it better than anybody else. That'll happen according to your level of training and your access to your skill. But you do need to believe I can execute this stage plan. I can shoot these targets. Okay, this is what I'm going to do, and I know that I can do it. And sometime during this stage planning process, I would say once the stage plan is solidified, once it's memorized, once we're moving into the visualization process, begin surrendering to your point of focus. I will see what I need to see. Center the dot, call the shot. Whatever that's going to be, begin surrendering to it so that you're clearing your mind of things that do not need to be there. This is systematically how you reduce the number of thoughts you have in your head by controlling what you are thinking about, restricting it to very, very simple, usually visual things. This is the best way to get access to subconscious skill. Okay? Singular focus. And your final visualization will need to be silent except for the round count and potentially the point of focus. Now, so that covers knowing the stage inside and out. Create a subconscious stage plan, a minimum of 20 visualized reps. Once you've got that stage memorized, get out of that conga line. You don't need it. It is not helpful because the conga line visualizations will not be identical and could contain negative imprints. Your memorized, visualized stage plan will be the same every single time, and you can get more of them in the allotted time that you have. Okay? And by the way, during your pre-walk, today's I believe it's Thursday, so you're probably doing your pre-walk today. You may be rolling into town today. You may see this pop up during your pre-walk. Control the imprints to your self-image during the pre-walk process. Oh, this stage looks like fun. And if the start positions aren't listed and the round count is not known, just get a general idea of the layout. The staff match has already started, so we should know round count, we should know start positions. We can begin formulating some idea of a plan. Now, you're not trying to create 20 stage plans during the walkthrough. Okay, you're going to get a sense of familiarity with all of them so that when you show up, oh yes, I remember this, I'm going to do this. But really concern yourself with whatever you're shooting the first day. That's what's really important. And if there's people shooting while you're looking at the stage, those environmental imprints are ideas that you can accept or reject. If you watch somebody going to war on steel, the imprint can be, ooh, that could happen to me. Or the imprint can be, I'm great at steel. I'm going to do this by putting the dot in the middle of the target. So control the environmental imprints. They can be accepted or rejected. The ideas in your environment do not have to affect you, but they will if you let them. Okay? Now, not thinking. Everybody shoots their best when they're not thinking and they don't care. But if you could do that, you wouldn't be listening to this program. If you could do that every single time, you wouldn't be listening to me talk about this anymore. You should have a point of focus or a focus phrase by now that you trust. If you've been listening to this program, this is probably not the first time you've heard this advice, but you should have a point of focus that you surrender to by now. If so, surrendering to that 100% is the way to have your best match at nationals. Surrendering to that point of focus. You know it works. You know it works, and you know it works according to the percentage of surrender, right? If you're thinking about center the dot, call the shot, but you're worried about being slow, so you're tempted to go fast, that is not centering the dot and calling the shot. That's going fast. You will get whatever your last thought is before that timer goes off, so choose wisely, okay? Now, if you don't have a point of focus by now, think about your best stages that you've ever shot and restrict your thinking about those stages to things that you can do. Well, I wasn't thinking, I didn't care. That won't be possible. But you should know something about the mental conditions in which you shoot your best stage, even if you haven't been logging this like I've been begging you to do. Okay? So think about that. When the stage is over, evaluate how you shot and then reinforce the process that you used to get a good result, or reinforce the immediate solution or correction. Now, let's talk about pressure. Oh, pressure doesn't bother me. I don't care. Okay? All right. I'm not feeling any pressure because I don't give a rat's rear end. Okay, that's fine. Pressure can arrive or intensify unexpectedly. You need to expect this and you need to prepare for it. And literally, all you need to do is to control what you're thinking about, control what you're feeling if possible. I don't know if thoughts and feelings are the same. I know they can sometimes be at war with each other, but I do know that thoughts create feelings and feelings create thoughts. Whatever these are going to be amplified by pressure. And again, this will happen unexpectedly. You're minding your own business, you're ready to shoot, you're feeling good, the super squad shows up. You're getting ready to shoot, you look over and you see Christian Saller out of the corner of your eye. That is going to increase the pressure. And the only thing that can do is amplify what you are thinking and feeling. I am begging you, literally begging you, to control what you are thinking and feeling so that when pressure does inevitably hit, unexpectedly, unpredictably, you'll be ready for it and you'll have something in place to be amplified. Okay? When you have a great stage, when you hit a home run, I need you to reinforce the swing that made the home run possible instead of the result of the home run. One is duplicable, one is not. If you duplicate the swing that contributed to the home and run, you can, the home run, the hole in one, same analogy, home run is fine too. If you think about the swing that made that possible, it's duplicable. But if you think about the result, it is not duplicable. The result is, if there's something you want, think about the process needed to achieve it. You're never going to be in control of the results, but you are always in control of the process. And when you design a process that you believe will create the result that you're looking for, and you restrict your thinking to that process and that process only, that's the closest you are ever going to get to controlling what happens. Okay? Number 8, if you make a mistake, it is 99% likely to be a temporary lapse of visual patience, especially if you're in A class or above. If you're in A class or above, the only mistake you're going to make is a temporary lapse of visual patience. Now, the good thing about this is it is the easiest thing to correct, and it is the only thing that you can correct in between stages. And it's caused by incomplete surrender to the correct point of focus. If you have a temporary lapse of visual patience, it is going to be caused by the incorrect point of focus, thinking about grip, thinking about recoil control, thinking about your feet, or it's going to be, thinking about the wrong point of focus or incomplete surrender to the correct point of focus. And those two are pretty much the same thing. Pretty much the same thing. So right before you shoot and as you're finishing the walkthrough process, begin surrendering to this point of focus. You should have one by now that you trust. Okay? Now, if you're going to look at results, I need you to protect your self-image while you are doing that. If you're going to choose to look at the results, or that may be beyond your control, right? If you're on fire, one of your buddies may say, hey man, you're doing pretty good. Or somebody might say, ooh, I see you had a rough day. Somebody might say these things to you. You may not be able to insulate yourself from the results 100%. So if you're doing better than expected, you know how you're going to do. Your self-image has already set you up for a finish here. You know what this is. It's interesting, isn't it? We know who's going to win. I know who's going to win. I know who's going to be in the middle of the pack, and I know who's going to overtry and screw the pooch. I can see this a mile away. I watch these results. I understand how this works. And these people know it too. Because self-image provides this feeling of here we go again. It's a Whitesnake song, right? Your self-image, it's kind of a butthole, and it's kind of a Whitesnake song. Okay? We're not going to talk, so in the former example, it will not accept a large input at first. It can be stretched with small, big imprints, but it cannot be stretched by the really big imprint that you really want. Like you can't go from middle of the pack to I'm going to win this thing. Self-image must be stretched a little bit before it can accept the big imprint. That's just how it works. Okay. Regarding a Whitesnake song, if I have a great stage, here we go again. If I have trouble on steel or an activator or something along those lines, here we go again. Self-image knows what's going to happen before it happens, and this can be controlled. Okay, so the temporary lapse of visual patience is easily correctable by doubling down on the correct point of focus. You don't need 20 perfect stages to win your class. Nobody is going to win every stage. The only thing you need to do is lay down consistent winning performances within your control. So, if you're doing better than expected, that's great. Hey, I'm getting exactly what I wanted. I'm executing my process and I'm doing better than expected. This is awesome. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. As opposed to, oh no, I never do this good. I better either protect this or I better widen it. It's going to go bye-bye. It's going to be like the model car on the desk when Tommy Boy goes for the sale. You're going to take your beautiful car, your beautiful sale, you're going to light it on fire, you're going to throw it in the wastebasket, you're going to get asked to leave. But if you instead say, hey, I'm doing better than expected, this is great, I know exactly what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep doing it. See, shooters know so much about getting it wrong and so little about getting it right, primarily because they never let themselves get it right. So you've got to let yourself get it right. Then you've got to know what you're doing when you are getting it right. And I'm going to warn you again, the conscious control of speed anytime during this match is going to be an error that you will regret mightily. If you ever catch yourself, or if somebody says to you, you need to slow down, or if you ever catch yourself thinking, or somebody says to you, you need to be going faster, that is always, and I mean always, going to be an error, because it activates the conscious mind, which literally prevents access to your subconscious skills. So if you're not interested in getting the results of all the training that you've done, consciously control your speed. You'll get zero access to your training. And the reason why is your conscious mind doesn't know how to perform subconscious actions. Your conscious mind doesn't know how to draw the gun. Your conscious mind doesn't know how to do a reload. Your subconscious knows how to do these things. And this is precisely why we grant access to the subconscious by getting a healthy self-image. The last imprint is the most important one. We'll talk about that in a minute. And creating a subconscious stage plan, because if you're navigating that stage, you're not shooting subconsciously. But when you get a subconscious stage plan, when you have a singular point of focus to control the conscious mind, that's when you get access to your skill. That's when you get access to your brilliant stage plan. Okay? Number 11, if you are having invasive or intrusive thoughts, you may need to negotiate with them. And what I mean by that is, if something is telling you, that little devil on your shoulder is saying, ooh, this is a speed stage, you need to go a little faster. Say, okay, please continue. Oh yeah, you need to go faster here. And you'll say, okay, when has that worked for us? Well, it worked once, and it can work, but not with any consistency and not with any duplicability. Don't screw this up. Hey, you're leading your class in points available on Practice Score Competitor. Don't screw it up. Well, okay. That's valid. I don't want to. What am I doing to be leading my class currently? What have I been doing for the last day or the last 2 days? Going into the last day of the match. What have I been doing to get these great results? If you know what it is and it's within your control, you can duplicate it. Okay? What if something happens? The best way to prevent something from happening is to take control of it. And if you have anxiety about something unpleasant happening, take control of your strategy. It's the closest you're ever going to get. Turn anxiety into strategy. So these thoughts produce short-term imprints to your self-image, which create pictures of the future. So if you're thinking, I need to speed up here, the imprint is, oh no, you're slow, you better go fast. It's going to be in your future. And if you're thinking, don't screw this up, it's going to be an imprint that says, hey, I'm likely to screw this up. I may have done this in the past. It's very likely to be here we go again. Right? So turn it around. Create a positive picture. If you're worried about what ifs, if you're worried about DQing or slipping on poor terrain, it creates a picture that means it's already happened in your self-image. See, all of these things you think about produce literal imprints that produce pictures of events that you don't want to have happen. Pressure intensifies this. Now, this can be used in your favor. If you get an intrusive thought that causes you to worry about being slow, remind yourself, when I see what I need to see, I am always as fast as I need to be. If you're worried about screwing it up, this is what I'm going to do, and I know that I can do it. What if, what if, what if? I am in complete control of what I am going to do, and I cannot control the results. I cannot prevent a thing from happening in the results, just like I cannot really make a thing happen with regard to the results. But I can control what I am going to do, and that is the closest I'm ever going to get to controlling the results. Okay? Number 12, establish an objective within your control and write this down right now. Press pause, get a piece of paper, and write down an objective within your control. I am going to create X number of subconscious stage plans by choosing quickly and getting a high number of reps with positive imprints. That is something that I can do, and I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to shoot with a singular focus. And then when I'm done, I'm going to reinforce the process that I used, or I'm going to reinforce the immediate correctional solution. And again, it's only going to be a temporary lapse of visual patience. It's the only 96.5% of the time, right? 90+% of the time, the only problem a good shooter is going to have is a temporary lapse of visual patience. It's the only thing that can be corrected in between stages, and it is very easily corrected in between stages. Number 13, if you've been keeping a journal correctly, if you're a graduate of the mental management process, you can go back and read about your best stages and your best matches. If you're not a mental management graduate, or if you haven't been keeping a journal, you can't do that. And I'm sorry, I have been begging you to write a book about your best shooting and how to duplicate it. If you've been doing it, you can go back and do that. If you have not, then you'll simply have to draw from the fragments of your memory about what you remember about the best mental conditions in which you shoot. Ideally, you've got it written down. If not, you'll have to go back and revisit it. Number 14, do not discuss mistakes at all, ever. If you make a mistake on a stage, you're going to reinforce the immediate solution or correction. You're going to think about that. If somebody asks you what happened, if somebody says, ooh, looks like you had a rough stage, you're going to say, hey, I'm seeing what I need to see and everything's going great. You're going to say, I've already corrected that issue, I'm having a great time, and I'm calling every shot. Which brings me to number 15. Establish talking points to control environmental imprints. And for the love of Pete and Poughkeepsie, for the love of Ollie and Eau Claire, for the love of anybody wherever they can be found, establish talking points to protect yourself from environmental imprints. And avoid the lunch area at all costs. Do not go there. Do not eat the double cheeseburger. Do not have the cherry pie. Avoid all of that. If you have to eat something from the lunch area, eat something very small and go to your next stage. You do not need to be in that environment. If you hear somebody talking about the rough day that they're having, they are not trying to hurt you specifically, most likely, but it will, or it could, unless you protect yourself from those ideas. Those ideas, those thoughts, those opinions do not have to affect your performance in any way, but they can and will if you allow them to. They can and will if you allow them to. So protect yourself from those imprints. Okay? All right, so the bottom line here is all you really need to do is establish a subconscious stage plan with repetition, choose early, get a high number of repetitions, and visualizing your run from the shooter's start tone who is in front of you is a phenomenal way to get extra reps. And doing it from their start tone increases the realism. And if you can carve out some physical area and add a little bit of physical movement to your visualization, which is done with your eyes closed, by the way, or you can do it at the safe table. Make sure you stay in the fault lines. Doing this from a start tone with a little bit more physical movement makes it a more realistic visualization, and you'll always get it right. Okay, you do not need to be watching the shooters in front of you. You need to be visualizing your stage plan. That's what you need to be doing. and control the imprints to your self-image at all times. If you receive a negative imprint with a poor stage, immediately cover it up. If you receive a positive imprint from a great stage, reinforce that by continuing to visualize and reinforce what you did specifically to have a great run. Not what happened. When you have a hole-in-one or a home run, reinforce the swing, not the home run or the hole-in-one. The swing is duplicable, the result is not. All right, I will be available. Those of you insiders, if you need to text me during the match, I may be available and I may not. I'm going to be working on the West Coast somewhere this week. There'll be a time zone change, so I may be able to help you a little bit. But if you need anything, send me a text message. If I can, I will respond as soon as I can. But you already know what I'm going to say. You know I'm going to tell you to get a subconscious stage plan, identify a singular point of focus, and shoot that way while protecting imprints to your self-image. That's what I'm going to tell you to do. And if you're a mental management graduate, make sure that you're staying on that flow chart. Okay? All right. So, catch yourself thinking about results. That's fine. Catch yourself wanting to win. That's fine. Convert that desire into a process within your control. Okay? That's the bottom line here, guys. Whatever you want out of this match, you need to convert that into a process within your control. Okay? So, in 1972, Lanny Basham went to the Olympics and he gave himself a job. He said, Lanny, what do you got to do today? I've got to beat a guy I've never beat and win the Olympics. Do you know how to do that? Nope. We got no idea. So he spent the next 4 years talking to gold medalists about the mental game. He goes back in 1976 and he says, Lanny, what do you got to do today? Oh, that's easy. I got to run my mental program on every shot. Do you know how to do that? I am the best in the world. And that's when he won. By executing a process-based objective in which he believed he was the best in the world. Are you the best B-class shooter in the country? Get a process within your control. You win B-class. Are you the best A-class shooter in the country? Because it ain't going to be the best shooter that wins. You don't have time to become the best shooter. But you do have some time to become the best competitor. Okay? All right. Hope you guys have enjoyed this program. I apologize for the podcast drought, but it's always because I'm traveling or because I'm looking for a new topic. So send me topics and keep me traveling. And please go to upcoming classes at andersonshooting.com. If you want a free class in your area in November, December, or 2025, just send me an email and we will get that done. Until then, be like me. Do what I do. Say it with me. 1, 2, 3. Love you. Bye. And get to work.